Like, come on now, Tyler Hero. Like, who named the child Tyler Hero?
Well, I mean, Hero is just the last name, so they just had to carry that across.
I wonder when he
But it
made
would
up that
be.
name. Like, I'm
I
gonna be.
mean,
My last name is Smith, but my name is Hero.
look, but Aunt, you know how us black folks would be. If we had the last name Hero, one of the kids' names would be Super. You know that. You know,
Yes.
you know we would name our kid Superhero. Um,
He'd be an NBA player or basketball player now.
yep, exactly. So hey, they did right by him. But he's playing pretty well, and the Heat are down two to Cleveland, looking to tie the series up.
Yep, down
So
two.
it's to be very interesting if they hold it down. But let's get right into it. Welcome to the Uptown Parlay Podcast. I am hosting today. This is Malik, and I'm joined as usual by Anthony and Ace. What's going on, fellas?
What's up? Oh yeah,
Ace,
he's
can you
just
hear us? Is he frozen? His background isn't frozen,
no, his
but it looks
background is
like
frozen.
he
I think
might
his
be frozen.
he might not be hearing us or whatever.
He
Or
can't hear all the negative shit that I'm saying about him right now.
he's putting in his picks in whatever for the next year's Super Bowl. Think he's going to beat the Bears.
Oh, okay. All right. So he's wrong. He's wrong again, a year in advance. It's crazy. What's going on there? How you been, man?
I'm all right. I just got this update on my phone just to let y'all know. Pickens is follow the Steelers. Uh-oh. So there's something happening here.
I'm curious about that because, um,
Well,
you
I can't
know,
hear y'all.
this, yeah,
Are
so we
y'all
know that.
talking?
Yeah, we're talking.
We've
We're
been
talking
talking.
we've been talking about you for the longest.
I can't hear
Um,
nothing y'all was saying.
that's perfect. But we can hear you, and
Good.
that's good. But anyway, um, so years ago, this wasn't a thing, right? So now it's become a
Right.
thing where, players unfollow teams and it's supposed to mean something. So it's interesting because, there was a recent story that came out like a couple of days ago
Mm-hmm.
that we were talking about this on the chat about the Lions potentially looking to trade Jamison Williams, even though
Right.
it makes absolutely no sense to trade the guy when, he's an important piece of a, championship caliber team. Um, and there's and you have team control over his deal. You can extend him you give him the 5 year extension. So you have team control for the next 2 years at a reasonable dollar amount.
Right.
But anyway, but everything, the entire like storyline was built off of this notion that unfollowed the Lions on Twitter
Right.
or X. So I was like, since when did this become a sign that the player no longer wants to be on the team? Because somebody actually said, and it was somebody that said it was like he's on the Lions or he's on the Steelers. Why does he need to follow them
Right.
if if he's on the team? You know, he knows what's going on with the team. He's fully aware. He's fully invested in what's going on with the team. Why does he have to follow them? And why does unfollowing them means that he's leaving or that he wants to leave? It's just ridiculous to me. I don't understand it.
I do want to know one thing though. Who is the person who's getting paid out the behind to know when you unfollow somebody? Like, come on now.
That,
Who's that
that's
intern?
true too.
Who's that
That's
person?
true too.
I don't like that job.
Yeah, because yeah, exactly. How do you? I don't know who unfollows anybody and how. Like, are you alerted when somebody gets unfollow when somebody unfollows the team, or do you just randomly start checking people's pages and see if they, when they unfollow the team or when they started following the team?
Yeah.
Is it like mandatory to follow the team when you get drafted by them? Like, I don't understand the concept of following a team on X and
I also think it's
what does that mean for you?
I also think it could be the way how they unfollow because they unfollow them and then all of a sudden they start deleting the pictures of them. Like, say for the Steelers, you unfollow the Steelers and all of a sudden he doesn't have the Steeler gear no more. He's just wearing his regular stuff. He's just showing his college
Yeah.
stuff. Like,
But it's not, but that's the whole thing, right? It's not a breakup. You're still under contract. It is unfollowing them. You can not like me all you want. You still got to come to work. Like, I, I would never follow my job on X. Like, I would never in a million years. I don't follow them currently. So like, I
You know,
wouldn't do that.
Wow.
if I was a player on there, I'll follow the team that quite first drafted me and never follow nobody else. Like say they traded me, I'll still be on the still show me following the Steelers, still show me in Steelers gear.
Cool. So Ace, this is a question. Ace, can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, serious question, because I'm really curious about this. Do you follow or friend coworkers on any social media?
Does LinkedIn count?
Yeah, not really, because it's professional, right?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
I made that mistake once on my first job, and I'm never doing it again.
No,
Right.
never do.
And do you do it?
Hell no.
Exactly. So if you
But you got to understand, this is their first real job, so like they might make that mistake.
Right. So but that's what I'm saying. But unfollowing them doesn't mean I no longer want to work with you. It just means like, nah, I kind of don't want you checking on my shit anymore. It's could be a number of
things.
things.
More players don't have private pages because if they really get out here like we really think they are, sliding people's DMs, do you really need your blue check mark popping up on everybody's page? Like, hey, he's liking a lot of photos of this IG model. All of a sudden, what's going on with such and such on the?
Well, I guess you want your blue check mark to actually appear so that the person that whose DMs you're sliding into knows that it's really you, right?
Yeah,
And
but if you really need to know it's you.
Account.
And you in the NFL or you in the NBA, then they don't already know it's you. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's true.
If they need to know it's you on IG, then they don't know it's you.
That's true. I always say, I think there's got to be an easier way to validate or verify yourself to people that you're messaging. That doesn't mean that you have to be completely validated or verified on like the main social page, right?
But I think unless you're the franchise player, I don't really think you got to follow the team's social media. Like Karl Anthony Towns is probably still following the Minnesota Timberwolves for all I know.
Unless I'm doing something active for the team. If I'm doing something active for the team and I'm like actively, posting the team or whatever, like, yeah, sure. But I'm just, player 65 on the squad. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't give a shit if you follow me, follow the team or not. And the team shouldn't care. Because that's how they interact with the fans, not, But anyway, I don't think Jameson Williams is getting traded. George Pickens might get traded, but that's only because they just traded for DK Metcalf and paid him a grip of money. So maybe Pickens gets traded. But that leads me to our first topic of today, which is the NFL draft, which starts tomorrow. Tomorrow evening is day one of the draft, first round, followed by day two, which would be rounds 2 and 3, and then day 3, rounds 4 through 7, taking place in Green Bay, Wisconsin, home of the Green Bay Packers. We will not be in attendance, as we haven't been in attendance in any of the drafts since they left New York. But won't be in attendance.
You mean you're not going to Green Bay?
I have zero interest in going to Green Bay. Actually, that's not. I do want to go to a Packers game. I do want to go to Lambeau Field at some point in time in my life.
Why?
Check it off the bucket list. But I'm not going to Green Bay for the draft. That's definitely not happening.
Yeah, we need to be sponsored before I can go like that.
Yeah, somebody can send us there, and then then I'll go. But you guys excited? Excited for the draft? Excited to get this finally over and through? I feel like this every year. I feel like
I am.
Every year, I feel like it just drags on. By the time we get to the end, I just can't wait for it to be over.
Yeah, I've been looking since September. So the Jets suck.
That is true. Depending on who you've been rooting for, you're probably, this is like the end of a 6-month journey for you. So, but let's get into our top 10s. We did these. We've been doing these for the past couple of weeks. So just curious to hear if anything has changed, anything that you're thinking based off of what's going on around. And I'll start with you. Any changes in your top 10, or you still got basically the same people?
I think it changed up a little bit. I just run it off right now. I just got Cam Ward, of course, is number 1. Travis Hunter is number 2. Abdul Carter is number 3. Will Campbell number 4. Mason Graham number 5. I think that's where we stopped at, where we had everything at. But right now, after that, I have Amar Membu going to the Raiders, Tyler Warren going to the Jets, Jalen Walker going to the Panthers, Shador Sanders going to the Saints, and the Bears look into Ashton Genty.
So you liked my recommendation of Tyler Warren to the Jets last week when we talked about it so much that you updated your mock to get him in there.
Oh yeah, I had him before my earlier mocks and stuff like that, and I definitely liked them there. Quite as far as for Tyler Warren is concerned, is him for the Jets is going to be him, Membu, and they've been talking about this other corner. I forgot this dude's name. Oh, Jahad Barron. For some strange reason, his name been popping up. Jahad Barron from Texas. Jahdae Barron. For some strange reason, he moved up to the Jets line of sight for the last 2 weeks. All these guys have been talking about him. I'm kind of upset of that because I don't think we need a corner, and I'll be pissed off that he'd be taken at 7. But you never know, the Jets might actually move back just to get him, afterwards and grab a couple of picks.
What do y'all need?
What we need is our offensive lineman, which is the right tackle. For some strange reason, we let our offensive tackle go to the Patriots, and we need that. Or we also need a receiver or a good tight end, especially because our tight end is really a backup tight end. A third string tight end is starting right now.
I think you're going to draft a wide receiver, and I think I know who he is.
Well, like I said before, H just picks things out of nowhere like his pixie dust. But anyway, I'm going to go with Tyler Warren on this one. I'm hoping that Tyler Warren goes to the Jets.
Ace, any changes in your draft in your top 10? I know you had done yours last week.
My top five is about the same. Tennessee Titans are still going to be taking Cam Ward. The Cleveland Browns are still going to be taking Travis Hunter. The New York Giants are going to be taking. Well, actually, I still have the New York Giants taking offensive tackle Will Campbell. People think I'm nuts, but I still have that happening. The New England Patriots are going to be taking Ahmad Membu. And then Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be taking either Tyler Warren or the best pass rusher. I have the Las Vegas Raiders taking Jalen Walker. I have the New York Jets taking the best wide receiver available after Travis Hunter, which in my opinion is Luther Burden III. I think they're going to draft him. That's, my opinion. Or they could go with the tight end, Tyler Warren. Possible. Depends on how much they like him, but he's very similar to the guy that they have right now. So I don't see that happening people think I'm nuts, but I don't see that happening, honestly. And then I have Jahad Campbell going to the Carolina Panthers because he's the highest rated linebacker, and that's where they need the most help. He can actually cover, and he can also rush. And then for the Saints, I have them going with Will Johnson. Right, I already got rid of Abdul Carter, right? Because he's going to the Giants or the Pats, one of those two. I think I had him going.
You had the Pats, yep.
And then Mike Green is going to be going to the Saints, and then the Bears are going to be getting Ashton Dainty, and the San Francisco 49ers are going to be taking Teteroa McMillan. Okay. And the only reason why McMillan's going to drop is because he's not as fast as the other guys. He runs like a 4.6.
Yeah.
But he's big as shit. He's only 21 years old or 22, so he's one of the younger receivers.
That's what everybody's heard. And he's been compared to Drake London, and I can't remember when Drake London was drafted. I know he was drafted in the first round, but I can't remember what the pick was when he was drafted.
Oh, he was drafted that was after Atlanta had just missed the playoffs with he was drafted not the Kyle Pitts one, but the year after. So when they had the 15th or 16th pick.
Okay. So somewhere in the middle of that first round. So yeah, I can see.
Yeah, when they won 8 or 9 games. 8 games. 8, 9, yeah.
I can see McMillan doing much of the same in terms of his draft stock. So no changes for me in my top 10 except one. I did switch back to Armand Membu after hearing a bunch of talks, a bunch of chatter with respect to the Jets and how they want to support Justin Fields as the new quarterback and really shore up that offensive line with Morgan Moses leaving and going over to the Patriots, I believe. Opens up that right tackle spot. So I do have him going to the Jets, which drops Tyler Warren out of the top 10 for me. I'm still fleshing out the rest of my mock, but it'll be in tonight because we have our annual draft game that we're playing tomorrow. So we'll be checking in on the picks and everything. So that'll be fun. But Pro Football Talk did release their one and only. So they only do, if you guys know, they only do one draft, one mock draft a year. So they're not like the other sites that do a bunch and have all these shows. They just do the one. So this NBC's Pro Football Talk. They released theirs today. So their top 10, a little chalky, but a couple of big names to note. Cam Ward 1, Hunter 2, Carter 3, Campbell 4, Graham 5. They have Kelvin Banks going 6 to the Raiders. They agree with you, Anthony. Tyler Warren going to the Jets at number 7. The Panthers with Jalen Walker from Georgia at 8. The Saints with Armand Membu at 9. And the Bears taking Ashton Genty at 10, which I would not like for my Lions, but we'll see. They have my Lions taking Derek Harmon, the defensive tackle from Oregon, at number 28. And Ace, they have your Ravens taking Donovan Jackson, guard from Ohio State. So that is, you can check out Pro Football, NBCSports.com, Pro Football Talk, if you want to see the remainder of those picks. No major shocks there, but
they don't have the Ravens taking a receiver?
No, they actually have the Ravens taking Membu.
I don't think he'll be available that far in the draft.
At 7 or 6?
Isn't Baltimore drafting 27?
No, I'm sorry. They have the Saints taking Membu. They have the Raiders taking Kelvin Banks.
That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
So trades. Any trades that you've either been hearing about or that you want to see happen? Anybody that's been kind of on the bubble that you've been hearing about trades? Anybody that you've been thinking about or thinking that you want to see? Maybe even a trade that your team might make. You want your team to trade down. You want to get more picks. Anybody that you're thinking might be on the hot seat to trade to that would be trading that you're looking into?
The Seahawks are going to be trading up to get a wide receiver.
Okay. Well, that makes sense because they definitely let go of a bunch of their receivers. So if they like somebody that's in the draft, I could see them trading up from, where are they right now? They are
18. Yeah.
Coming up to get one of the receivers, either McMillan.
And the rumor is the Colts are going to be trading up to get the second quarterback, Shador, or the rumor is not Shador, but I always keep forgetting this quarterback's name, Tyler Show, which somehow jumped up because he's 6'5", but he is also in his 7th year of college. So he is 25 and a half years old.
You can wait for that dude.
He is almost as old as Chris Wenke when he came out. And they're not trying to make that mistake. And he ran a 4.6 40. So he's big and slow. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah,
that'd be a waste of a pick for the first round.
And he's only 219 pounds at 6'5", which would make him a shooting guard.
The Shador slides continues. And any trades that you're thinking of?
Well, I heard about I'm just going to say the ones I heard first, which is I heard about that the Rams want to might be trading up for one of the tight ends. Also, that the Giants, after they draft Abdul Carter, they might actually trade Kayvon Thibodeau since they're not going to sign up for his 5th. They're not going to extend it to his 5th year. So they're thinking about trading him. And also a trade that I hope that doesn't happen, but they was talking about it, that the Jets might actually draft or trade up to get Ashton Jetney and trade off Breece Hall, which I hope doesn't happen.
Wait. The Jets drafting Genty at 7 and trading Breece Hall away.
Right.
That's interesting.
It's interesting, but I don't want it to happen.
I could see that.
Because
you love Breece Hall or because you don't like Ashton Genty?
Oh, because I love Breece Hall.
Okay.
But I can see if I as far as for being taking all the emotions out of it, I could definitely see that happening because you don't want to pay the Breece Hall when his contract is up because he was a 2nd round pick. He was not a 1st round pick. So, his contract's gonna be up faster. You don't want to be paying that extra money send him packing because you also got to pay the other three that was drafted that same year, but they was drafted in the first round. Then you pick up Gentry and he replace him right away.
Yeah. Yeah, and also, I mean, it obviously resets the running back clock, right? Because
Right.
Brees Hall will be going into his third season or fourth season in the
Fourth
NFL.
season. You're right.
Yeah,
This is
so fourth
contract year right
season.
up.
So you've got a decision to make about signing him to a long-term deal, or and if you can get Genty, you get Genty, and you reset that, right, with a running back who's just as good, if not even more explosive. So I could definitely see that happening.
And
Um,
question:
Go ahead.
do the Jets own their second round pick?
Yeah.
And okay, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're gonna. Okay, I'm just thinking it makes more. No, I just see like they keep talking about how many available running backs there are, so I see them taking a running back at the top of the second round if they really want to do that. Because after Hampton is Trevion Henderson, who won the championship with Ohio State, and I mean, there's not much difference between him and there's a difference between him and Genty, but there's not much difference between him and Brees. He's actually kind of a clone of Brees Hall, a little bit faster though.
Hopefully.
Just saying.
Anyway, hopefully it doesn't happen.
Well, some players that I thought that I think might be on the move. Obviously, we heard about the Jalen Ramsey of the Dolphins being given the given the green light to seek trade. So you figure that's gonna shake up. That could potentially shake up a team or a division, especially if he goes to a team that's contending, because he still obviously has the ability to do some things on some special things on the field, even at 31 years of age. We heard about Mark Andrews, the tight end from Baltimore,
Oh yeah.
who has had a great career, had a really really bad final game as a member of the Ravens, and looks like that's led to him being on the outs with the team and potentially being traded away. So that's a big name. Um, I mentioned earlier about the Jameson Williams stuff. I think that's a little bit far fetched based off of what we're hearing, but I wouldn't be surprised if that does happen as well. Because of some of the things that we talked about, Anthony, when it comes to Brees Hall, fourth year player, having to make a decision about signing him long term or resetting the clock with a younger receiver, and Brad Holmes did mention in a pre-draft meeting or pre-draft press conference that the team is focusing on getting younger at the wide receiver position, which at the time most fans thought was related to their older receivers, Tim Patrick and Khalif Raymond. But now with the Jameson Williams stuff, it could mean him too. And then finally, of course, the big name, in my opinion, is Kirk Cousins. Where does he land? Does he land in Cleveland? Does he land in, um, New Orleans or one of these other organizations that star for quarterback play? Does he go back to the Vikings? Where does he land, and for what? So I think those are some interesting players that could be on the move.
Say he goes back to the Browns. I say he goes not back to. I say he goes to the Browns because him and what's the name is supposed to be buddies. The coach over there.
Hmm.
So I wouldn't be surprised that that's where he'll go. He might waive off some of his. He might restructure his deal, whatever, so he can fit in perfectly with them.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's probably the best, especially because of the fact that it's a team that needs a quarterback that has some questions there and definitely wants to increase the timeline on that team. So right now, I believe the only quarterbacks that they have on the team right now, they don't even have DTR. Yeah, I can't remember who's in their quarterback room at the
Oh,
moment.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
Cleveland has four. They got Kenny Pickett.
Yes, Kenny Pickett.
They have that same guy that they have, Deshaun Watson, who's still awful.
But
That
he's
same
not in the
guy.
room right now. He's not in the room right now because he can't play. I mean,
Okay, that's
yeah,
fair.
he's hurt.
Yeah, he's not in the room, but I mean, he's under contract, but yeah, that counts. He's not healthy, so that don't really matter. Uh, they signed
Joe
somebody.
Flacco.
Is Flacco still there? No.
Yeah,
Flacco,
yeah,
did he
Flacco got
sign
signed
back?
with them.
I know he signed
Flacco
a
and
1 year
Pickett.
deal with somebody, but I wasn't sure if it was them. Okay.
Yeah, Flacco and Pickett are still on the team, or Flacco and Pickett are on the team. Yeah, Kenny Pickett just got a Super Bowl ring, so he's a champion.
Yeah.
Him and Flacco.
Yeah.
What
Well,
we
we'll see.
need.
I mean, I think Cousins is a good 1 year stopgap, and it allows for you to, if you play well and he's able to bring you to the playoffs, maybe
They're
you
going
give
to
him a
bring
2 year
Kirk Cousins
deal.
to Cleveland.
Yeah, that's the talk. There's the talk of him going to Cleveland or Pittsburgh.
Not
Um,
Indianapolis.
After all of this stuff with no, because I mean I tend to believe that they really want to give this either Richardson or Daniel Jones a shot to prove themselves to be a starter.
I don't trust no damn Daniel Jones, man.
I think they want to give them a chance to prove their ability to start, um, rather than spending more capital on another quarterback and muddying it up a little bit even more than that. So
All right.
we'll see. Last but not least, if you had a crystal ball and you could get any one player that you want from this draft in the first round, who would it be? And I'm gonna start with you.
Well, since I've been saying praising his praise, I say Tyler Warren, of course, because I said it before. But I'm going to have another crystal ball that the Jets trade back in and get the Jihad Brown that they was talking about as rumors for 7, instead of just going to get him later on.
Oh, okay. So trade back into the back end of the first round and get Barron at the cornerback position.
Right.
Okay.
I keep pronouncing his name wrong.
Ace, what about you?
If it's up to me and we could literally get anybody, it would be Travis Hunter. If somehow the Bears could work their magic and get Travis Hunter, that would make this team unstoppable.
I would say good luck on that, but there's a lot of play going on as of right now. Talking about teams are trying to trade up to get Travis Hunter right now.
Unfortunately, I think he's going to end up in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, and you just said the name for me. You guys know how much of a how big of a challenge it was for Detroit to generate any form of a pass rush when Aiden Hutchinson went down last season. If I could get it my way, the Lions would trade all the way up to 3 and take Abdul Carter, and we'd be set at the edge on the edges for the next 10 years.
Did you do a Ricky Williams trade?
I mean, look, I'd be willing to because to me, when you're a team that's this close and there's a glaring hole, even though the draft is supposedly flush with the edge position depth,
right?
Everybody's clear that there is one blue chip guy,
and the only guy who's being compared to Michael Parsons.
Yeah. And if you can get that guy to go along with your other blue chip guy in Aiden Hutchinson, you set yourself up for the long haul. And so, yeah, for me, crystal ball, trade whatever you got to trade, move up in the draft, and go get Abdul Carter and just lock it in. Make him number 11 on the Lions and lock it in and roll it out and just take it from there. All right, so we know the NBA playoffs is going on, and NBA playoffs have reached round 1 is in full swing. All the teams have played at least 2 games. I believe right now game 2 between the Celtics and Magic is going on, and you just say game 2 between the Rockets and the Warriors is happening, right?
Right.
Yeah. So everybody's played at least 2 games. Most of the series are 1-1. There's a couple of series at a game 2. Actually, Orlando and Boston just went final. Boston won 109-100. So that game that's a 2-0 lead for the Celtics. So those 2 are 2-0. OKC is 2-0 against Memphis. And I think all of the other series are 1-1.
Right. I think so too.
Anything standing out from the first round game so far? What you've seen, what you've read, what you've heard? Anything that's lighting up for you? And anything that you're hearing?
Not really, because as far as for me just coasting on this, I haven't really heard anything. It just seems like, and I'm just from casually looking at it as a casual fan, it looks like the basically how it's gonna flow as far as especially with the 1-1 teams or whatever is that they'll let one slot at home whatever the way how the team mentality is concerned. I can see it. I feel bad that the Knicks actually let me kind of down on that last game, but that's about it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I was thinking. Home court advantage is a crock of shit. It really is a crock of shit.
It don't mean
If you're
shit.
the
It don't mean
if
nothing.
you're the better team, you're gonna win no matter what.
Right.
You're gonna win most likely. You're gonna win the series. But if you're not the better team, you're not gonna win the series. And so to me, it's like, and I know Ed has made this point, previously about like not needing the play-in tournament. I don't think we need an eighth seed this year. I I think OKC could have easily, like, OKC is playing to win, to have a point differential in 2 games. The point differential between the OKC Thunder and the Memphis Grizzlies is, I think, 83 points
No,
in 2 games.
73.
73
You know
in
the
two
only
games.
team to lose by 70 in 2 games?
Who's
We were
that?
alive when it happened. It happened in the 80s. I'll give you a hint.
East Coast, Eastern Conference or Western Conference?
Western Conference. This team was actually good in the 80s too, which is kind of surprising.
Who was good in the 80s? Jeez. I mean,
Lakers, Celtics,
aside from the
Celtics,
Lakers,
Detroit Pistons.
Western.
Portland.
Correct. The Portland Trailblazers got rocked by the LA Lakers in 1986 with Clyde Drexler and
Not Clyde the Glide.
Sam Bowie and Terry Porter.
Oh, you mean that guy who got drafted before Jordan?
The guy that,
Said Bowie.
exactly, that guy that got drafted before Jordan. They gave them the business. 2 straight games, beat them by 30 and 40. Magic and Kareem and Worthy just beat the brakes off of them.
Insane. Like, Memphis just doesn't even look like they should be on the floor. Like, they honestly just don't even look like they have it. They don't look like they care.
They're easy money. If you just want to take the over and bet against Memphis, like, that's a great combo in them games. They were really trying yesterday. Like, legitimately, they got within, I think, 6 or 8 points in the third quarter. And then OKC was like, all right, let's play for real. And then just took off. And I was like, this is bad. Because y'all were really hooping. Y'all were making shots. Y'all playing good defense. Zach Edey was out there moving. And he can't do nothing against Chet. He can't do nothing. He's just not quick.
No, he's not quick enough. And that was the knock against him coming into the draft, was that, he had slow feet. And in the NCAA, it was.
He's not as slow as we thought, but like, he's just not. He's not good enough to be on the court for like 20, 30 minutes. He's not as good as Rudy Gobert.
He's not somebody that can run with your team. You can't. If you can run him, out of the equation. If we're getting that ball off the glass and we're breaking off of it, he's not doing anything. He can't factor into that.
Correct.
Half court, sure, but what can he really do when teams can legitimately, like, when you have a team that can legitimately go small and still be able to score, still be able to make things happen when he's on the floor? It tells you what you need to know about 7'4" guys in the NBA right now. If you can't run, if you can't keep up and run and rim run, he also can't. And that's the other thing about him. Like, he's not a rim runner. You know what I mean? He's not one of those guys that you could just kind of throw the lob to, and he's just going to rim run for you. Like, who's the kid from Dallas that was last year's, surprise rookie?
Oh,
Dallas.
Yeah. The 20-year-old kid.
Lively.
Derek
Like
Lively.
that kind. You're either that kind of center or you're this kind of center. And when you're the Zach the Edey kind of center, it doesn't work. Because, like, what's his name? Hartenstein looks more athletic than him.
Yeah, a lot more.
So all that height, doesn't mean much.
He's not, he's not bad. He's just not good, and he's just not good enough to be a starter in the playoffs. He comes off the bench.
No, I don't think he's bad. It's funny because I feel like 30 years ago, that guy's a featured player on the team.
Yeah.
And now if he scores 12 points, if he averages 12 points in the season, that's good. That's pretty good for him. But if he does that 30 years ago, we're calling him a bum.
Correct. He should be getting like 25 and 15.
Yeah, exactly. Um, but yeah, that's my main takeaway from the first round. Ace, any takeaways from you from the first round games thus far? The first two games everybody's played.
Yeah, two big ones. Milwaukee's in trouble.
Mm.
Milwaukee really tried to put it together last night. It is not going well. The Pacers are cooking them. Giannis is killing. Nobody on this team, like their offense just doesn't. Doc's about to get fired unless this is his first 3-1 lead he comes back from, because it does not look like it's going to go much better in Milwaukee. The Knicks are in for a dogfight, but like I said last week, Knicks in 6. Orlando is also going to just get swept. There's really no point to the 7th seed in the East, let alone the 8th seed. Cleveland and Boston are just going to walk through them. I mean, Boston's just upset because they hurt Tatum because they messed up his wrist. There was a hard foul, but he tried to catch himself, so he might have broke a bone in his wrist, but it's just genuinely sprained. And the Lakers are in trouble. The Lakers and Minnesota, that series and the Denver Clipper series, yeah, those are going to be real interesting. That's going to be a coin flip because Minnesota went in there and just took game 1, and the Lakers are real small. So if Naz Reid plays well, the Lakers got problems because they got one center and he is not very good. Jackson Hayes is not it. There's a reason why the Pelicans let him. The Pelicans said, "Nah, we're good. You could go. You go ahead." So yeah, the Lakers are really going to need LeBron to turn back the clock. And I know the league is hoping that it's Lakers Golden State in the second round, but Houston's up 10 points already in the first quarter in this game, so I think Houston's going to take that series. But that series is going to go 7 games. Houston, Golden State.
Yeah, there's a lot of and they're playing right now. Houston's leading by 10 at the end of the first quarter, I think it is. Yeah, I kind of like your thought of your sentiment about the Bucks Pacers. I thought the Pacers would win it in 7. I think that was the pick I made there. Um,
Pacers in 6.
I'm leaning 6 now. I initially said 7 because I thought that Dame was coming back for game 1 at the time I made the pick when I made the pick. He did come back for game 2. He didn't look great, but that should be expected because he was out with the blood clot and medication and all that stuff. So I feel like he'll get a little stronger, and he may get strong enough to be able to take a couple of games from them. But I don't see. I think the Pacers, the pace of play, the style, the way they play, it's all, and the fact that they don't like the Bucks and the Bucks don't like them. There's added incentive to just
Yeah.
beat them off the floor. So I think that's gonna bear out. Yeah, I completely agree with you on the 8 and 7 seeds in the East. I think those series would be more interesting if you just picked the best player for both teams and had them sit on the floor and play NBA Jam against each other, and then they might actually they might actually get a game or some 2K. Just get your best 2K players, and the games would be much more interesting. Because
Um,
yeah, nothing happens in those games that's worth anything unless you're a Celtics or a Magic fan.
Orlando doesn't have a chance.
They
Boston's
don't.
bench is deep. They've developed those guys. Payton Pritchard is killing them. Like, I don't even know who's coming off the bench for Orlando. I got to be honest. I don't know any of these guys.
Yeah, the NBA is like,
And I've
I think
seen
that's
them
the
play
thing
like
that
6 games.
I think that's the thing. The NBA, unlike the NFL, the NBA is really a game of haves or have-nots. Either you have the players or you don't have the players, and if you don't have the players, you ain't gonna win. You ain't gonna win most nights. Um, but yeah, so very interested there. Very interesting. I think, like I said, some of these series are gonna go down to the wire. Um, and some of these series there's gonna be some bad blood, shown in these series, which I think is cool because there's some competitiveness back into it. But
Oh, wow.
in the end, I think
Steven
until the
Adams just
second
got,
round happens.
sorry, Steven Adams just got thrown to the ground by Quentin Post, the rookie from Golden State.
Yeah, that tough guy. Yeah.
I mean, Steven Adams is not a dude you want to mess with. Yeah, Quentin Post of Boston College, who we didn't even know I didn't even know who he was.
hmm
That's crazy. Sorry.
Um. So just a quick note: the NBA Finals odds on ESPN right now. Oklahoma City's odds have updated to plus 175. The Celtics are plus 200. Cavs are plus 500. Golden State is plus 1400, and the Lakers are plus 1500. Those are your top five odds from multiple sources. It ranges from multiple sources. That's the high betting mark there. So anything that you would want to throw a little bit of money at, any little bit of change at, Ace?
Long shot pick to make the finals, the Clippers.
Hmm.
If you really are a Clippers fan and you just want to make some bread, throw $20 on the Clippers to make the NBA Finals. I believe they're plus 1,000 on BetMGM
Yeah.
and DraftKings, and I don't know what the Bet ESPN is, but they're plus 1,000 on most sports books to win the Western Conference. And if Kawhi stays healthy and Zubac keeps playing the way he is, yeah, they might be able to do that to Oklahoma City. Like Kawhi's not jumping, and the man is hitting everything. He went 14 for 17, dropped 37 points on him. It was crazy. And in the
So
East,
go ahead. Go ahead. No, I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
oh, and in the Eastern Conference, if you really just want to have some hope and throw some money out there, Cleveland is still plus 200 or plus 150, 170 to win the East. And I think they're going to beat Boston. If the Knicks don't beat Boston, Cleveland's going to beat Boston. Because the Knicks, I think the Knicks make it out of the first round. So there's that.
So right now on ESPN, you mentioned ESPN. ESPN has the Clippers at 10-1 to win the conference and 20-1 to win the championship. The Knicks are right behind them at 14-1 for the conference and 40-1 for the NBA championship. So that is that. Um, it's been an interesting couple of weeks so far in the baseball season as well. Uh, baseball is baseball is nobody's talking about torpedo bats anymore, which I appreciate. We don't need to talk about that anymore. There's like a week of that where everybody was talking about those bats. Let's not talk about that anymore. And scoring is up. I'm noticing now. I don't know if you guys have watched a full baseball game yet this season, but they go by much faster than I remember.
2 hours with the pitch clock now.
It's legitimately a 2 hour game now.
It's quicker than an NBA game.
Um, that's a great thing, in my opinion. I think it's both. It's equally fantastic, but it breaks into my nap time because I typically I typically sleep between the fourth and the seventh innings in most games, and now I don't. Now I don't. If I fall asleep in the fourth inning, I will wake up and that game will be over, and that's happened a couple of times so far this season.
You know what I did notice about baseball? The San Diego Padres are in first place,
Yes.
which is shocking to me, considering they've lost most of their high paid players.
Well, Tatis is still there. Machado is still there.
And
And
that's
that's really it. Yeah.
they lost Juan Soto, and Jason Hayward is now Padre, which is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Yeah, exactly. But no odds to really talk about there with baseball. I think it's still too early to even be thinking about that. But
Yeah.
doing all right. Aaron Judge just went, I think, 6 for 8 in the last two games. He's absolutely on fire right now.
You can bet the Mets to win the NL East.
And hey, they're not
I want
bad.
to go crazy.
They're in first place in the division right now.
12, they're unbeatable at home, almost.
Yeah. So that's something there. Bet on the Mets early because you don't want to bet on you'll look
Oh,
later and they won't be where
and
you
just
think they
fade
are.
Colorado all season.
The Rockies.
Yeah, they
Okay.
haven't won 8 games yet, and they've played 22. I only
Yeah.
made one 5.
You forget that they play baseball in Colorado, obviously.
Yeah,
Especially now that the Nuggets are good, the Broncos are kind of back, and they're
the White
they're
Sox have
they're
won more
vicious.
games than the Colorado Rockies.
Yeah, they're 4-18. My goodness, horrible, horrible. And you can't even like get better, exponentially better if you get the number one pick in the draft in baseball, like you can because somebody will just sign a Japanese superstar and then all of a sudden you're done. Which to me I have a problem with that, and I wish that they would actually do something, do something about that, because a team like the Dodgers should not be able to get better by just signing the latest Japanese import who's an amazing pitcher. You know what I mean? Like that feels kind of, stupid. He should enter the draft just like any other player. Like in every other situation in basketball, they enter the draft. Think about that.
That's true. Otherwise, Jokic would have been a Laker or a Knick.
Yeah. Think about that. Think about it like anybody could have just signed Luca. Like
that would be crazy.
It would be crazy, right? And he would have just signed with the Lakers. Or he would have just signed with somebody right out the gate,
I don't think you can you come into the NBA without having gone through the draft?
I don't think
possible.
No.
Baseball and soccer are the only sports where you can do that, right?
Yeah.
I think it's because there's no salary cap, so the player unions have like more freedom of movement.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I know people were talking about changing the whole draft, the model or whatever, but that's the thing that I think you'd have to adjust. Or no, not the draft model. People talking about wanting to put a salary cap on baseball, but that's the thing. I don't think you want to put a salary cap on baseball, but that's the thing you have to adjust.
I don't like the deferred salary payments because I think that's cheating because they're not even actually paying him.
That's true too.
You should have to pay him at least half of his salary up front.
That's true.
They're paying the man $70 million a year or $65 million a year for like 14 years, but he doesn't start actually getting paid until like 2032 or something, or 2031. I'm like, how's that fair? The Yankees could have done that with Soto if he would agree to it. They'd be paying him until 2050.
Just to let y'all know, technically you can join the NBA without being drafted. You just got to be a free agent from the professional league outside the NBA.
Oh, really? So you just got to play in Europe and come over at like 24, 25.
Yep.
That's right, because Tony Kukoc never got drafted by the Bulls. They just signed him outright. Same thing with Arvydas Sabonis.
The European Jordan, Tony Kukoc.
I mean,
by the time Sabonis came, he was already a Hall of Famer in Euros, right?
Yeah, he was like 90 years old and stuff.
And he was still out here cooking dudes. He was still giving it to Shaq.
And Kukoc was already in his 20s and had already played a bunch of games for his country at the time.
And then they picked on him in the 92 Olympics, and he was like, I was not ready for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're saying here, basically, you just got to be 19 years old and already out of high school for us.
Well, there you go.
Ain't that something? Oh, well. All right. Well, let's get to our shout outs. Unless there's anything else that y'all wanted to run down before we roll out of here. Quick show this week. Draft coming up and everything around that is going to be interesting. We'll be back tomorrow, or at least Ant and I will be back tomorrow, recapping round one of the draft. We'll record that and release a special episode for that. Anything else you guys wanted to touch on before we roll off?
Yes, Stanley Cup odds to win the championship. Bet Winnipeg to win the championship. They're plus 700. Florida looks really good. Florida's going to have to play Winnipeg. I think Winnipeg wins it.
And what's the name of the team for Winnipeg again?
The Jets, Jets.
Yeah, baby.
Because that's where they build the Canadian jets out in Canada. The Bombardier, which is a Canadian jet company, if y'all didn't know.
And plus they like the New York Football Jets, too.
Yeah, okay. Uh-huh. That's Yep. That is
all right. Well, let's roll over to our shout outs, and we'll start with you.
All right, let me start my first shout out. Shout outs to what's the name? Porzingis. I'll give him that. Hang in there. He got hit this today. He was bleeding. He actually got real foul, not that LeBron James foul. So shout outs to him for taking it like a man. Shout outs to him. Also, I want to say Shakedown, Pound Town, Rebound, Lakers in 5. Shout outs to Shannon Sharp. Hopefully you didn't do what everybody's thinking you did. And you'll still be on the air. Shout outs to you. Hopefully, you didn't rape this woman. Shout outs to Aaron Glenn, for putting Aaron Rodgers in his place. You deserve that. Quite disrespect my behind. If Aaron Glenn would have called him on the phone or zoomed him or something like that, he would have called it disrespect as well. So shout outs to AG for just saying, looked at him right in the eyes, said, "You want to play?" He said, "Yeah," like a little wuss. And Aaron Glenn said, "You know what? This guy doesn't really want it," and just moved on. Shout outs to him. FU Woody Johnson sell the team, and also shout outs to Shaq, for not waiting to use the bathroom. For some strange reason, you had to run to the bathroom on air. You could have just did some other way to get off of that. But anyway, shout out to you for making a good meme out of it. Also want to say rest in peace to Pope Francis, and also rest in peace to Steve McMichael as well, Detroit Bears legend.
R.I.P. Steve Mongo McMichael, part of the '85 Bears. Unfortunately,
and once again, sorry for my mispronunciations of everything. Thanks for correcting me, Ace.
Oh, no worries. That's why I'm here. Shout out to my Chicago Bears, who are going to get Ashton Dainty and then go on to win 12 games next year and win the NFC North. North is ours. Shout out to my New York Knicks, who are going to go in Detroit and roll them for the next 2 games. Knicks in 5. Knicks in 6, like I said. And shout out to Dame Lillard, who's out here talking trash to Tyrese Halliburton. And shout out to all the petty NBA players who said that Tyrese Halliburton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and who was the third player who they said was overrated? And not Kevin Garnett. It was a third player who they said was overrated. It was Giannis, Halliburton, and I think it was Jokic. They said were the 3 most overrated players. Or I think it was another forward. It might have been Paul George, which I thought was just insane. Because if you had those 3 guys on your team, you would be contending for a title. It's only petty because it's all an NBA players, so they let them put it in anonymously. And I think it's hilarious that those are the guys that they said were the most overrated, who are all NBA players, which is kind of hilarious. And shout out to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Oh, you do?
Yeah, go ahead.
Who are the top 3?
So it's Halliburton at 14.4%, Rudy Gobert at 10%, and Trae Young at 8.9%.
Oh, Giannis wasn't third?
Giannis was not third. He's on the list.
He's 4th.
But he's like maybe 10th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll run down the list. So it's Halliburton, Gobert, Trae Young, Jimmy Butler, Bradley Beal.
That's what it was. Green. It was Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler was 4th.
Yeah, he's 4th.
If you had Jimmy Butler, Halliburton, Trae Young, and Gobert on your team, you'd be in the finals. You would be in the NBA finals.
Probably. And
that is an insane and petty list. I think they're upset that Gobert is getting that much money. I get why people don't like Trae Young. He's just kind of annoying and he's a foul merchant. But Halliburton, he just gets under people's skin, and that's really why they're not fucking with him like that. And shout out to ESPN for just being crazy and letting Paul Heyman go on there and freak everybody out and not know that he's a pro wrestling guy and that's his character, and just talk all types of craziness. And having people call up McAfee like they're going to come over there and do something. I really enjoyed that. So shout out to them, and shout out to Houston for trying to win this game and putting it on the Warriors early on in the series. And that's about it.
Cool. Shout out to the last 5. I just want to, before I roll in my shout outs, the last 5 on that overrated player list after Bradley Beal. Oh, good.
One final shout out to my grandmother, who's 101 years old. Shout out to her.
Absolutely. Enjoy your birthday, Grandma. So the last 5 before we get to my shout outs, the last 5 on the league's most overrated list. So after Bradley Beal, we have Draymond Green, Ja Morant, Julius Randle, Joel Embiid, and Giannis Antetokounmpo rounding out the top 10. So first and foremost, shout out to whoever makes these memes with the action figure memes.
Oh yeah, that's
These
awesome.
Things have been absolutely hilarious. We just got in the chat. We just got the one of the Shannon Sharp and the OnlyFans girl. I ain't gonna lie, I would buy that. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, as a collector's item, and then I would see if I could get Shannon to sign it, because it literally has Shannon wearing the outfit that he wore when he got out of the car and there was like a whole meme about that with the bag and
He always has that
the
bag
whole
too.
the tight green outfit or whatever, and then the OnlyFans girl, and then the evidence. Like this is hilarious, and there's so many of these things. Shout out to whoever's making these and putting these out because these action figures are funny as hell. So shout out to them. Shout out to Kirby Joseph. The Lions made the free safety the most the highest paid safety in the history of the NFL. Signed a 4-year, $86 million extension today. This is just what we do. Take care of the guys that have been, the stalwarts for us. Sign them a year early rather than waiting for a year later, and use the draft. I'm sorry, use the money that we have in our salary cap to sign our own guys. And this is how good teams stay good and maintain their good players for long periods of time, rather than having to spend their salary cap money on bringing in free agents that they have to acclimate to the team because they didn't draft well. I'm looking at you, New England Patriots. Shout out to Ace kind of took my shine there, but shout out to Tyrese Halliburton and Damian Lillard talking trash during game one and, laying the groundwork for some actual, angst from two teams, in the playoffs, like from angst from two players who, yes, they seem to have a little bit of a rivalry with one another. I know Tyrese Halliburton likes Damian Lillard because, if I'm not mistaken, Damian Lillard is the reason why Tyrese Halliburton wears number 0. So like he was a big fan of his coming into his career. So I believe he does respect him, does like him, but it is what it is. Do what you got to do, and make things interesting. That's what we're here for. Shout out to Shador Sanders. The saga is about to be over. I believe you will be a first round pick. I believe that you will be drafted into the first round in this upcoming draft, and I believe that you will be perfectly fine when you get to whatever team you go to. I hope that you not being selected in the top 3, top 5, or wherever you wind up going gives you the motivation to go out there and show why Tyler Shugg or Jackson Dart or even Cam Ward should not have been drafted over you. Go out there and make everybody, second guess all of that talk that they made about you coming into this process. So shout out to you for getting it done, and shout out to all the draft eligible players who will be selected tomorrow and Friday and Saturday, getting the opportunity to live out your dreams and play the sport that you know and you love, as a career, and as sure you guys believe that you could do it when you're 4 or 5 years old, and there's going to be all kinds of stories about it and people hugging their moms and crying on the cameras, and it's, it happens every year, and it's a great moment, it's a great opportunity, and I can't wait to watch it again. And with that, we're out. Peace, everybody.
Peace.
Have a good week.
Peace. Shout out to Transfer QBs.